Do the homework. Do the homework. Do the homework. It's 5 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. You've said it 3 times already, and your child is still sitting there, looking at anything but the notebook. And when you finally approach with that voice of last warning, the fight begins. Tears, complaints, I can't, I don't know how, or simply running away from the table. And you're left there, wondering at what point homework became a battle that repeats every afternoon. If this happens in your home, I want you to know something before we continue. Your child isn't doing this out of rebellion, and you're not failing as a parent. What you're seeing has an explanation, and there's something very concrete you can do before the next fight. Today we're going to look at why some children resist homework so much, what the most common mistake is that unintentionally makes everything worse, and a simple first step you can use before the cycle of repeat. Let's start with the most important thing. Why does your child resist like this? When a child avoids doing homework, our first reading is usually laziness, lack of interest, or simply that they don't care. And sometimes there might be some of that. But in most cases, what's happening inside is something else. Doing homework is a big jump. It's moving from something they were choosing themselves, something comfortable, to something that requires mental effort, concentration, and they also know there's a possibility it won't go well. That generates resistance, not because they're bad, but because it's completely human. Think about it this way. Imagine someone interrupts you in the middle of something you're enjoying and says, "Now sit down and solve this tax problem." Even though you know you have to do it, just having to start creates weight. Now multiply that by 10 if you're a 7-year-old whose brain It's not that your child doesn't want to comply. It's that starting costs them much more than it looks from the outside. And this is where the most common mistake comes in. What almost all of us do is start with pressure. We tell them to do it, repeat the instruction, add a threat or reminder of the consequence. And if that doesn't work, we raise the volume or extend the explanation. It makes sense to try it, because with ourselves that works. If we know something has to be done, we do it. But with a child who's already resisting, each new instruction, each "I told you," each "if you don't do it now then," all it does is increase the pressure without lowering the actual difficulty of starting. And the more the pressure grows, the more the child shuts down, until what should have taken 20 minutes ends up becoming an hour of fighting, tears, and everyone exhausted. It's like asking someone to jump over a fence while yelling at them to jump. So what do you do first? Before insisting, before repeating the order 5 times, before threatening to lose privileges, there's one step that changes the entire scenario. Lower the cost of starting. It doesn't mean removing the homework. It doesn't mean negotiating every afternoon. It means making that first step so small that your child can take it without feeling like they're climbing a mountain. Here are some concrete things that work in that moment. First, connect before instructing. Approach. Look at your child. Say their name calmly. Don't start with, "I already told you 3 times." Start with presence. A brief contact, a calm look. That lowers the defensiveness. Second, name the task concretely and small. Don't say, "Do all the homework." Say, "Let's write the first 2 answers." Don't say, "You have to study." Say, "Let's read 1 page together." A microscopic goal generates much less resistance than a huge and vague order. Third, it can literally be, take out the notebook, or write your name at the top, or read the first problem out loud. That step doesn't solve anything yet, but it breaks the inertia, and once they've started, the second step is much easier. Fourth, sit nearby for a moment. Not as a police officer, not watching every letter, just nearby. Your calm presence makes the effort less lonely. You don't have to stay for the whole homework session, just the first few minutes while they're starting. Fifth, use a short timer or mark a single block. Not until you finish. That's infinite to a child. Say, let's work for 5 minutes, or let's do these 3 lines and then we'll stop. A clear limit of time or quantity makes the effort feel manageable. Sixth, acknowledge the effort, not the result. Don't say, how smart you are. Say, I saw you stayed there even though it was hard. That teaches them that what. And seventh, if the homework has to be done and the child keeps resisting, hold the limit calmly, without repeating it 10 times, without getting angry because they protest. You can say once, I understand you don't want to, and the homework has to be done. We'll start with one small step. And then you hold the silence. Firmness doesn't need yelling. One more thing I want to mention before we finish. If homework resistance is so intense that it causes real distress every day, or if you notice your child has genuine difficulty understanding or completing what's being asked at school, this isn't something you have to solve alone at home. Talking with their teacher, with the pediatrician, or with someone who can assess if there's something else that needs support is a responsible decision. Not because your child is wrong, but because what you can start today, without waiting, is this. The next time you have to ask your child to do homework, instead of repeating the instruction, approach calmly, name a step so small it isn't scary, and stay nearby while they take that first step. It won't solve everything all at once, but it will change how that moment feels for both of you. If this video gave you even one new tool, give it a like and subscribe to keep receiving practical ideas that work in real life. And if you know someone who's going through the same thing, share it with that person. See you in the next one.